Hi YouTube, this is Kristen Moonrise. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the upcoming Sturgeon Full Super Moon in Aquarius on Monday, August 19th. I am a data scientist, an astrologer, and a life coach, and I help people find clarity in their lives by using astrology. So this video is part two, where I am tying in American politics to the message, and part one was the new moon in Leo, and you can check out that video here. So I've got a lot to say. I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible, so let's just get to the chart. So we've got the Sturgeon Super Full Moon in Aquarius, Monday, August 19th, 1:26 p.m. Central Daylight Time, Houston, Texas. And so we've got the moon in Aquarius opposing the sun in Leo at 27 degrees and 15 minutes. So this is a super moon, as the moon is closer to the earth in its orbit, and so that means typically that emotions are really running high. Native Americans called this the sturgeon moon, as sturgeons are at their most abundant in this season in the Great Lakes and other major bodies of water. The sturgeon is the largest fish in North America. So Uranus, we see, is in the earth sign of Taurus, Mars and Jupiter in the air sign of Gemini, Sun and Mercury in the fire sign of Leo, Venus in the earth sign of Virgo, Pluto and the moon in the air sign of Aquarius, and Saturn and Neptune in the water sign of Pisces. So Aquarius is all about forming groups, but not at the expense of the individual. It's about true brotherhoods and true sisterhoods. It's about knowing who you are as an individual, standing in your values first, and then finding your tribe. We are in the age of Aquarius right now, this new 2,000-year period. Before, we were in the age of Pisces, where we left our individuality first behind in order to then form the group. So that's a form of delusion and loss of self. So I've even heard people call it a lidentity instead of an identity. So before you know it, you've abandoned your truth for so long that you either have to convince yourself and convince others that this identity that you've been living is actually you, or you have to decide and really put in the work and really find who you truly are. And so this is a perfect time to really reassess the groups that you're affiliated with, and if you still share the same values, and if your beliefs are still solid when held up to opposing views. So if you're following American politics at all, you've probably seen how various subgroups have continued to form for Kamala Harris as they reconfigure their values and beliefs for this election year. So the media has not been able to make up the story of the candidate or the voter. And so both the candidate, really I mean Vice President Harris, but I guess you can also say Trump also, but both the candidate and the voter are creating their own narratives now. And so this is essentially cutting out the middleman, or the media in this case, and speaking directly to the American people via social media. And so we've seen the various calls, including Republicans for Harris. We've seen cat ladies for Harris. We've seen female attorneys for Harris. We've seen white men for Harris. We've seen Latter-day Saints for Harris, evangelicals for Harris, and so many other groups across political lines and demographics, breaking records and donations for this new energy, all thanks to the initial Zoom call Black Women for Harris made on that Sunday, on that second full moon in Capricorn, by the way, when Biden announced that he would not be running for re-election. So this is all about targeted messaging for the individual subgroups, basically for one cohesive plan or outcome for a particular candidate. This is absolutely Aquarius energy, where you have your values first, and then you find your groups, and then you make plans and you make things happen once you get together. And depending on how you may want to categorize it, one popular or unpopular thing that is really uniting people is, I'm sure you've heard of it, Project 2025. Yes, I printed it out and it broke my printer and it had to be replaced. And this, I don't know if you guys can see, but this is double-sided. 900-page document. I've got an electronic copy, I've got the physical copy. And yes, it's uniting people because of how it can negatively affect pretty much all Americans in some form or fashion. And so it's not just, any one particular conservative candidate that is pushing for this. This is just the plan of action behind the scenes. And if a conservative candidate does not win in this election cycle, I'm almost certain it will roll over until Project 2029 in the next 4 years. The next 4 years, they're just going to continue building it. So there's a lot of talk about it. I've even seen a video, I'll link it in the description box below, of that attorneys within the American Bar Association have formed a group together, whether they are Democrats or Republicans, to defend the Constitution, which is what they took an oath to do against this particular project. And I've been listening to a lot of different people taking various parts of this plan apart, because we hear the popular things like which is important, female reproductive rights. We hear about discrimination and DEI, and we hear about those things, and they absolutely should be amplified. But there are other smaller issues, or big issues still, but maybe not on the average person's mind, on how it could really turn everything upside down. So definitely, this is the age of Aquarius. This is about knowledge. This is absolutely something that everyone should be familiar with in some way. If you don't want to read the entire thing, absolutely listen to attorneys and experts of various fields that are giving their expert commentation on what is in, and breakdown in what is in this plan. So, with Trump and his running mate Vance, they've run on making the typical American the enemy. And they've isolated so many Americans and people in general, that the isolated have now formed a larger group, a larger majority group against this way of thinking that they have. So with Aquarius, like I said, this is the information age, and we are really hungry for knowledge now. We have been asleep before, and we are reading, we are collaborating on the internet, we are watching and producing videos. But with that comes a lot of mis and disinformation, because if they know that you're hungry for this information, they're also going to point or publish things that are also um, misinformation. And so you've really got to tap into your heart and ask the spirit realm, the universe, ask God, uh, what do you really need to know? What feels good to you? What isn't isolating? What isn't hurting other people? What's the ideal, most high vibe way of living? Is it this or is it that? And so, I highly doubt that your higher self, that God, that the universe really wants you to have baseless hate in your heart for other people. And so that would keep you from your purpose, and you're incapable of being fulfilled if you have that feelings towards other people. And so this is because of this being a full moon. It's really time to just surrender to the divine and ask what it wants you to do. How does it want you to help fight back against this? So the sun, the planet of vitality and individuality, and Mercury, the planet of the mind, are both in the 10th house, which is the house of the career. And so these two placements ask us to really use facts and to be able to adapt to different people, to be intellectually stimulating in our writing and in our communication. And in order to succeed, we must have a strong sense of self. It is impossible to win if you aren't true to yourself. So I really see this theme playing out in front of our faces during this election season. Who is authentic and who is just out there propped up and being backed by other people? And so if you aren't true to yourself, you'll always have that feeling of feeling like a fraud, and that people are going to figure you out. And so also another placement that I thought was quite interesting was the North Node is in the sixth house, and that asks us to develop high standards and to remember to be of service, good with detail, to not ignore our health as we are doing all of this change, and to be able to work with others. This is not a time to shy away from people. This is a time to really integrate and be open. Be smart about things, but definitely be open. So we've got another visual here. We've got the bar plot here, which shows how many planets are in each of the elements. And so it's pretty balanced between our emotions, represented by water, our willpower, represented by fire, and stability, represented by earth. But we've got 4 planets in air signs, which represents our intellect. So we must really rely on our intellect here. And that leads me to the tarot card pick today, which is the Six of Swords. So this is about making perhaps difficult choices on what you stand for. A lot of us, this is an easy decision to make. A lot of other people, it may be kind of hard to break away. Maybe asking ourselves some really tough questions. And so perhaps those, even who you thought represented you and had your best interest at heart, didn't. And you'll have to leave some things behind, but you can't leave yourself behind. Logic will get you through all of the emotions that you may feel. Although this is about politics, this is still a very spiritual thing. And so I believe really people spiritually are really tired of the charades. We're done with being caricatures of ourselves. We really want authentic people representing us. So this is a time to really hold our vision and show the world the real you. This is also about you setting your narrative, and not to shy away or ignore your heart, but to really find your tribe because they are looking for you. So be open because they are looking for you. So, if you'd like to work with me one on one on this topic or on other topics when it comes to spirituality, confidence, and mindset, you can work with me directly one on one by visiting my website, or you can send me an email. All of that is linked in the description box below. I also have a course on confidence, which is about ending your self sabotaging behavior so you can really live the life that you want to live. And so, again, I hope that you enjoyed this video about the upcoming Sturgeon Full Super Moon in Aquarius on Monday, August 19th. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.